then the oil companies. So then
carry on. I don't think they noticed.
Then that's those computers. Then the oil companies have essentially sued the Canadian government because they said that it wasn't fair to be building your solar panels locally. You had to open it up to global competition because of this trade agreement. That's how they could do it. And so the TTIP thing that we're voting against, that's the sort of bad thing that they can do if they have that agreement in place.
That's right.
They can sue the arse off anyone who doesn't do what they like, and governments and so on, and that's a lot of power.
It's globalisation, isn't it?
It is. It's essentially globalisation, but unfortunately it's globalisation by people who are hell-bent on destroying our environment and lives and essentially being dominant. And I think the time has come for humanity to have care enforced upon it more.
I do think that's coming slowly, but it's much slower than needed.
So I suppose the question is how, is it going to happen? How's it going to happen? How are we going to get to the point where because there's going to reach a point, isn't there? At some point in the future, if we go in this trend, people will get poorer and poorer, and there'll be a few people who get obviously much richer and richer, and are apparently so. At some point, it's going to kick off, isn't it? So
it depends whether they develop cyborg soldiers and
kill us all.
And ants with machine guns.
But then I suppose what happened then,
DARPA are on with it, mate. You know, if they can develop them before it all kicks off, then they've won, haven't they? Because
there'll always be that struggle, though. Like he says,
it'll
get to a tipping point, and then
But then the little robots and so on will take over from their powerful leaders, human leaders that are weak anyway. So it won't matter.
There's that new Avengers film. I watched it, but it's about an AI called, is it Ultron or something? And it's basically it's created and it's meant to help them, but then it sees them as a risk, very much like the Terminator. But not to destroy them. It's more a case of it needs to rule.
Actually, the best thing to do to protect the child is to remove the parents from the equation.
So TTIP, regardless of what you do, whether you sign the petition to try and stop it or not, you'd be fucking mad not to, but it's your decision. Please just search TTIP on WikiLeaks
and look up somebody. Naomi Klein explains it very well in a video about TTIP, I think. But she's also worth looking into. Naomi Klein has written a bunch of books. She's an amazing journalist, and her most recent book is called "This Changes Everything," which is all about how the climate is fucked at this point and how to solve it as well in a way that doesn't resort to violence. So that's lots of good stuff there. But she's also written books previously called "No Logo" and "Shock Doctrine," both of which there are films about actually on YouTube. You can watch the Shock Doctrine film. It's like a documentary. It's absolutely amazing. Just for me, it was a very clear explanation of how we've all been manipulated by governments, and it's like the whole, I'm open to the whole idea of conspiracy theories, but it's sort of in some ways it becomes moot because it's just obvious that these people are fucking us over. And it's not like there's any conspiracy that's hidden. They're just doing it, and we're cheering them on.
Dare I mention the Illuminati's hidden in plain view motto?
Not yet. Well, I'm not. And I don't even believe that anyone. Of course, they've got together. They're the rich people. They've got together to try and screw us all.
Yeah, definitely.
It's quite simple, and they're not really hiding behind anything.
And while we're talking about conspiracies, the 13 families and the conspiracy theory about those coming through.
Which is that?
The 13 European families who now supposedly are the heads of all these organisations.
The Rothschilds, they're one of them.
I mean, as an example, you could go through every American president and link them back through one of these 30.
Well, there's a really good thing. Noam Chomsky. You know Noam Chomsky. So Noam Chomsky, there's a really good little video on YouTube where he's like, okay, US presidents, which one of them shouldn't have been indicted in the whole history of essentially presidents, and they all have broken the law in really serious and massive ways ever since there have been presidents. And he just explains it very clearly. And it's very obvious that they do these things and we just let them get away with it in the same way as they're paying off the bankers. It's just a way of them getting money to themselves and to their mates. They get it.
Well, you know that there's no recession can happen by accident in our current monetary system, in the capitalist system, if there's a what did I just say?
Something about recessions.
The recession, if there's a recession, then it is created. It's created by the banks, by those that control the money.
Well, you can bet that people who are rich won't lose out. That's the thing.
Well, that's it. Everything becomes. It's all pushed into being worth nothing. At which point, people sell the stuff off. The people with all the money buy it up, and then they drive the price back up. I mean, that's essentially what happens with the interest rates with the Bank of England.
Yeah.
So, tell me about your dream. I'm off for a wee. Excuse me.
Which one?
Yeah, the one you were telling me about on the way over.
A dream.
It was quite next one really, because obviously I've got the whole HPPD thing going on.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of the time, because it's kind of PTSD at the same time. You feel like you're battling against your subconscious.
Mm-hmm.
So I've sat in like a computer room, and I'm just chatting with this lass who were good friends in school. Actually taught me a lot about Zennism and Buddhism.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm getting lucid dreams like every night now, and I can tell when I've gone lucid. And I've sat there, and I've gone, "You're my subconscious, aren't you?" She's gone, "Yeah." I've gone, "Well, why aren't you making me feel uncomfortable? Why aren't you tearing everything down?"
Yeah.
She goes, "Well, I'm your subconscious. I'm not here to do that. I'm here to protect you, but I can show you if you want." So me being the idiot that I am, always wanting to push the waters a bit further, went, "Yeah, okay then." And then continued to be transported into, do you remember the Looney Tunes game for Sega?
Not really.
Do you not?
I never had a Sega.
Did you not?
No, I did have a Mega Drive, but
chucked me into that, and I was stuck between 2D and 3D.
Weird.
All night, yeah. Kind of. I don't know why I tell me about my dream.
That is an interesting dream. Yeah.
But yeah, it just relates to that whole HPPD thing, which is quite wild in itself.
Yeah. So, tell me about HPDD.
HPPD. It's hallucinogenic persistent perception disorder. Basically through my misuse of hallucinogenics. Well, I wouldn't call it. Yeah, it was misuse. I was doing far too many. What happens is the neurons that connect the visual cortex. I can't remember which other part of the brain, but there's a group of neurons and they stay on.
Right.
Like everyone's born with it. Everyone's born with visual snow, which is what I have tenfold, but your brain learns how to filter it out.
Yeah.
What's happened with me is I've basically put a turbo on it.
Right.
And now my brain's scrambling trying to figure out how to turn those neurons off. And what it does, while it's trying to turn those ones off, it creates new ones.
Right.
So the whole healing process is going through different visual states. Like last time we spoke, I had tinnitus, that's now gone.
Oh, right.
And now they've all changed, like my colour's coming back, but my trails are much more predominant.
Right.
So it's really strange. It's like you can actually feel your brain working on overtime. It's very tiring, but that's what you get for misbehaving, don't you?
Yeah.
At least the psychological associations of to put in layman's terms, at least you've got your head round what's going on, because you were struggling a bit.
It is a form of, because I had a real extreme trip, which kind of set it on. Like you hear people talking about when they have a trip and something clicks in the brain. It's almost like it's been embedded in there like a photo and it's stored onto the hard drive.
Yeah.
It's a really hard thing to describe, but I knew when it had happened at the end of this trip, and it went whoop, that I'd have to deal with that memory for quite a while, and I'd carried on smashing it, shall we say. And it wasn't until that I realised that I won't go on a day, even when I wasn't on any hallucinogenics that were tripping, that I realised that what I'd seen was like imprinted into my visual cortex. I was seeing that all the time, and now slowly it kind of goes up in different visuals. It's like, you know, you get different patterns on different stuff. It's very much like that. So I'd start off with very like nitrous oxide type patterns, and then it'd go to mushroom ones, and then it'd go all the way up to like DMT type patterns. But now what it's been doing, it's going back down in the same way it went up. So
it's progress.
It's strange. It's totally neurological, and the only bad thing is about it, it's only just being researched, isn't it? Because they used to say, oh, it's just a flashback. Well, it's not a flashback if it's happening every day.
All the time, yeah.
So it's like, I can't go to the doctors because they'll just prescribe me some benzodiazepines or something which will just make it worse, because any substances make it worse.
Or just make you oblivious to it, or stop you complaining about it because you've become so introverted and fucked up on something else.
Lithium.
But then you'd get what they call the hangover effect. So as soon as I'd stop these, it'd be 10 times worse because the brain isn't dealing with it.
Well, there's all sorts of stuff setting it off now. I mean, you said sugar.
Well, sugar isn't
Coffee.
as bad now.
Well, that's handy.
I can have quite a bit of sugar. I'm able to have like 1 pint. After that, it starts getting a bit
sketchy.
It gets sketchy, but it's not as sketchy as it was before. Like, because I've got my head round it.
I've noticed over the last sort of 5 or 6 weeks, really, you just kind of, you look a lot less affected by it all. It's kind of like, it's still happening. I'd say to him, is it? You look like it's not happening anymore. I said, well, no, it's not that, but you know, I can deal with it more now, and they're less sort of aggressive, I think, aren't they?
Oh yeah, a lot less aggressive. Like, I'd have days where everything would just look like it were in a computer game all day long. No one looked real. Everything looked synthetic.
Weird.
It's like I'd constantly think it were raining, but it wasn't raining at all. It was just the visual snow was that bad. So yeah, it's just learning about how to make it your reality.
Drawing parallels in my own life. You need to. You go through times in your life where you have to adjust to your body being different.
Yeah, definitely.
And you know how your experience of the world is.
Yeah, because like, this is my reality now. I don't know how long for, which I've learnt to stop thinking about.
Yeah.
For the time being, this is who I am. This is what I see. I would very much like it to stop, but you've got to pay for your mistakes. Do you know what I mean? Lessons well learned, and I take not pride, but it feels good to be able to warn people that are on a similar path to what I was on about it, and when they actually hear what you've been tripping every day for 7 months, they kind of go,
maybe I'll back off.
I won't be able to handle that. Do you know what I mean? So there are positives from it.
Yeah, I think that's what you've got to do in any situation, is go, right, I know what's the negative. I know what the negatives are in this, but let's see what, you know. It's all just a matter of perspective, isn't it? You look at it from a different way.
And one of the major positives I've got from it is how I progressed with my music and how I look at music. Because now that's all I've kind of really got to get me into the mood. Right, you know, like when you just sat up on a field looking out, like you used to have a spliff. Oh, this is nice. Now all I've got is like music and my own mindset. And even with producing, I always thought I had to be under the influence of weed to write good music, which I've learned helps, but it should be pure from yourself as well.
Yeah, I think I've done interesting experiences over my life playing music, where doing gigs in various different states of mind, and I've learned that you can manage most of them, but it's absolutely fine not to be stoned or drunk or
you always
high.
Think, am I going to perform well enough? Am I going to feel it?
And actually, when you get into the fact that you probably are going to be much better if you aren't drunk or stoned or high in some way, then once you get used to that, then it's great.
The norm, yeah.
It's awesome.
So many times when I'm out, even when I've been playing and I'm all sweaty, and you come off and they're like, "Oh, what are you on?" And you're like, "Nothing."
I'm on music.
I'm on music, man. And a lot of them.
Well, it does it itself, doesn't it? If you get, you know.
I think
and those things can be crutches and habits.
They can. But I find when I'm DJing, I find it really difficult. I only ever DJed once straight, I think, and it is only a state of mind, and it is a crutch. But I found it really difficult to get into the kind of mindset of the people I were playing to. But the thing is now, I mean, your sets are so strong anyway that, you know, I think all you really want is for people for it to go off when you're playing, and it does, doesn't it?
That then can be your
That's
hit.
it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You know, and everybody else might be in a certain other frame of mind, but if you're hitting the point, then you're hitting the point, and you don't have to be in that frame of mind. So.
That transcends all states. If you're on it and it's happening, then that's all you need, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
That's the biggest buzz.
Do you want to play some? I've got some music to play as well.
What would you like to hear?
What would you like to play?
Sure. Well, would you like to hear a little bit of my band? It's a song that's been it's completely unreleased yet, so we'll have a glimpse of that.
So this is Crosscut Saw.
Crosscut Saw.
What's it called?
It's called Jose.
Nice. Back on the harp?
No, that's TJ. We recorded it ages ago.
Oh, right.
So we're around to releasing it.
Have you played this live?
Yeah, we do. We do now play it on gigs.
Yeah, I recognise it from last time we played it. It's a chill. Really.
Yeah, pretty pleased with it. It's it's difficult to be objective about your own music, but it feels good.
The playing's tight. It's energetic. It's always difficult to capture that when you're recording.
Yeah, well, we recorded that live in so much as we recorded it all live, but then I replaced the vocal on that one, I think.
Which is, pretty much the standard for getting a nice live sounding recording. Did you say turn our phone on?
I did, yeah.
You told everybody to turn their phone.
I told you all off, and then it was me.
Liam, plays the tune.
Yeah, sound.
YouTubing it, aren't you? So that's quiet. There we go.
So you got a new synth while you're finding that?
I have, yeah. I want more though.
The Arturia
Mini Brew.
Mini Brew.
The standard edition.
And it's a mass-produced entry level, really, isn't it? Sort of price range.
Well, a lot of the reviews I've read have said it's a lot.
It's pushing a lot higher than it's.
Yeah, and it should, because Arturia originally made VSTs.
That's right. Yeah, I've got a few somewhere. Soft synths.
Yeah, they're based on the old 1980s hardware synths, and I think late 70s. So they do a few of the later. Is it Moogs?
Yeah.
No, it's a really, really good synth.
The sound, I mean, the reason I mentioned it was an entry-level price range synth is because the sound is stunning. So, some of the basses and lead sounds for what is essentially a 300 quid synth are absolutely out of this world, and it is analog, an analog synth as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, fully analog.
So I'm assuming you're going to play something with that new synth on it.
I don't have it to hand.
All right, so I've just talked it up.
I'm just going to play something I've been listening to quite a lot.
All right, so.
Oh, the adverts.
Oh.
I'll just turn that down. Alright. Are we there?
Aye.
Yeah. Fuck the adverts.
Who's this?
It's by a band called Sleep. Really type of stuff I'm into.
You love that?
It's Southern rock style.
Is that what we'll call it?
That's stoner rock sound, even though I don't smoke weed anymore.
You just pretend you stop. The riff reminds me of Money about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, a few people have said that.
Yeah. And it's
Is it in Seven?
No, that's right.
It's in a Funny Time signature, isn't it? The Pink Floyd one.
oh, the Blue Fire one, yeah.
Yeah, it gets really chunky in there.
What's that? Is it those guitars open C? Low, got a low C in them.
No shot.
Somebody likes Black Sabbath.
Oh yeah. But I'm quite a big fan of Black Sabbath.
I'm a massive fan of Black Sabbath. I just glanced over at the video while I'm listening to it. I think that sounds like 69 Ozzy Osbourne.
The whole thing's very,
Yeah, not unpleasant.
yeah, good.
Yeah, it's very Sabbath.
It's very, very Sabbath.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, why not? If you're into Sabbath, why not start a band and write tunes that sound like Black Sabbath? You know what I'm saying? That the Live in Paris '69 recording is fucking amazing. The Black Sabbath, it's, yeah, next level. That's one to watch if you're a Sabbath fan.
Right, and it's on to you.
Good stuff. Did you say it went on a Dropbox?
Oh yeah.
I think I've just started recording something. Sorry, my technical know on this is minimal. Thank you. Yeah, I had writer's block for a bit, and then I wrote 3 tunes in the last sort of 2 weeks. I'll skip this on a bit. Might be a bit loud.
3. Right. Whatever you say. Skills worthy of a general. Skills worthy of a general. You want to fight? Fight with me!
Power tune.
You play another one, Liam, because me and myself and Alex have actually played one of our own, and I think it'd be nice to just those listeners who've not heard you, which I don't think there are many of at the moment.
You're still going.
Oh, sorry.
It's alright.
The small technical difficulty there would be slicker than this in the future.
Yeah, we're still new to it.
Yeah.
Rome wasn't built in a day, is that what
Burnt in a day.
Oh, but
What?
burnt in a
Rome wasn't burnt in a day.
Is that actually what it is?
No, it was supposed to be built in a day, isn't it?
Oh, that was supposed to be funny. Sorry, mate.
I got it.
Sorry, mate. Wow.
Tumbleweeds.
Anyway. What was I going to say? No, I was just about to launch into something completely unrelated.
Are you doing anything exciting next week? What's your plans for the next week?
Everything's a bit
Any
quiet
gigs?
at the moment.
No, everything has just gone quiet. We did our free party last week, and a couple of weekends off, and then I'm playing Glastonbury, which would be nice.
That's sick.
Which is nice. To be continued. So I'll leave it. Let this run.
So yeah, this were totally done on the Arturia, obviously minus the drum patterns.
Just the weight of the synth. I guess it's down to being an analog synth. Is really, really, really good.
Yeah, it does really have a rich tone, doesn't it?
There's spot.
Yeah, it's just learning how to use it, because it's so different not having it straight to MIDI and you've got to record everything and then...
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's taken longer to write tunes now. But they're much
It's worth it,
higher
isn't
in
it?
quality. Yeah.
And I think if you have, because there's one thing that that I started doing when you could use computers, when you could first use computers to write electronic. And I mean by computers, I mean desktop computers with Windows and Cubase. Is that all the hardware was out of my price range really, and it was an access. I mean, through pirating, whether you believe it, whether you agree with that or not, made things accessible, and so. For that reason, I would draw everything in on the key editor, and so what I think when you've got hardware and all the controls, yes, now you can get controllers and you can map all the rotaries to specific controls on the soft synths. But I'm just lazy, really, I think. And when you've got a piece of hardware there, you can immediately record in frequency, filter movements and stuff, which then lends itself to shaping the music as you do.
Do you find there's a problem with delay ever on like controllers?
No. I mean, most of them are done with the the most common is to use the MIDI notching 0 to 127.
Right, yeah.
So and they are immediate.
Right.
The only latency problems you'd ever get is with delay with audio, and you may do that. Does that happen when you?
Well, the problem I
when
find
you record a
sometimes
synth straight back into your sound card?
Yeah.
Does that happen with the synth?
No, it's quite quick, I've found.
Oh, right, okay. What about with yours? With the
Well, you'll have delay compensation on your
on Ableton probably.
Yeah. No, I mean the thing that all of that latency and making sure that things don't cause you problems is as long as you're always listening from one source. If you're trying to monitor for a computer, so it's like sending someone a vocal through a set of analog digital converters and back to them lends a horrible thing.
That's right.
So that delay, that's obviously all that compensation. That's one thing. But then what I mean is I find it really difficult mixing in software because when I turn a knob for especially things like EQ frequencies and like sweep something, then the processing of the plugin takes longer than my turning and brain, and so I overshoot all the time.
And do you?
Because by the time it's got to it's processing what I want, I'm already moved on past it, sort of thing. You can't sweep so easily.
Well, that's one, and you know, you're saying that there's pros and cons to each style of working. What I tend to do when I want to automate anything is I use Cubase, so I'll hit right, and then I'll just move the things and then open the lane and actually draw the
adjust it where you want it. But no, what I mean is literally in my workflow, if I want to EQ something, then if I use an analog, turn a knob and that does electricity.
On the controller sort of thing.
No, like on a mixing desk, and that's, you know, an analog signal being affected. Then the moment you turn that knob, what you hear is how it changes.
Yeah.
But when you're doing it with a plugin in Cubase and you're dragging your cursor or whatever it is you're doing, aside from the horribleness of having to look at something while you do it, but by the time, because of the software takes a little bit of time to process that EQ change, by the time, if you're sweeping through an EQ, like a bunch of frequencies, and you go, right, that's what, oh no, it's now.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I think it could be down to you.
Does me,
I think it could be down to you. I mean, you've got a really fast PC.
No, a really old, slow PC.
That'll be. I think it's down to the. I think it's down to the computer's ability to keep up with those. Right, yeah. I mean, I've just recently bought. I mean, it's not the newest thing on the market, but it's a Pentium Xeon quad 3 gig processor. And there's 16 gig of RAM in it, and like I said, it's not the most up to date or modern. It's not an i chip or anything, but it's the first computer I've had that it just goes keep coming, no problem.
It's just one of those things. It's that and the combination of like mousing around. You get bored.
Well, I mean, of course, when you've got a row of knobs, there's always that tactile resistance.
I find I can get a good sounding mix up quicker by just running it through the desk and doing all the things that you have to do, but then recall's an issue. But then, of course, but then most of the time, if I'm working on most people's projects, as long as you make them aware of the fact that there isn't going to be recall, we're going to make a mix, and that's
and it's nothing that
people get behind it and they enjoy it.
It's nothing that three photographs of your desk won't solve either, is it? You know, if it's important.
If you really need to get it back, and there's ways of making, you know, you can do stems and stuff, and then, you know, run off the vocals and the kit, and the bass and the guitars, and then if somebody go, my vocal's not quite loud enough, or the vocal's a bit too quiet, you can come back and just feed it back through the desk. In 8 groups, but generally I'm not. But then I'm not much of a fan of the whole recall thing anyway. I think it's quite nice to do a mix that's a performance. Almost, even if there's nobody there.
Well, again, because you've come from that background, and that's what you're interested in. Again, it's just that one of those. It's that thing in it where you've just got a different approach.
Well, absolutely, and it's different things.
And you know,
in fact, what I really like is recording straight to 2-track. A band playing, and you just commit it all.
What you get. Yeah. Well,
The sound quality is much better because you're not recording it and then playing it back to process it, so you just miss out a whole layer of either tape conversions or analog to digital conversions.
Well, and I suppose that's how you're going to get your most natural feel as well, isn't it? You know, if you can mix that, if you can have that mix on the desk,
it's great
as you
want
do it.
You need a band that's on board with the idea, of course. And
of course.
It's a lot harder work for musicians because they have to make their decisions about mixes as well as performing at the same time. So, you know, that's, not while they're actually playing, but, you know, come and listen to it. Does it sound how you want it to sound?
Yeah.
And maybe I could be a bit louder, but really I'm just trying to think about my bass.
Yeah, and then you've got that
responsibility.
And then you've got that, you know, you've got your 5-song window of your tune having the fire that it's supposed, or whatever that it's supposed to have. Right, you know, and then once you get past that, it starts to lose its magic.
Yeah, if you
and,
you overdo it and you get too familiar with it and boring.
I'm trying to look really natural and find my paper.
We're well on schedule.
Yeah, we are. Let's have a look then. So
waffling.
Just pretend we're just. This is a completely natural conversation. So, oh yeah, I just did want to mention this. This guitar tool thing. You don't sound too impressed, and the title of it is quite misleading because it says the guitar that you can fit in your hand or something stupid like that. But actually, what it is, it's we'll put the link on when we put this up. But it's somebody's new little invention, and it's a little guitar. Well, it's not even a guitar. It's basically a guitar neck with 4 fret spacers and 6 strings, and then a little thing here where you can just play the strings. It's only about this long, and actually, it's a really useful. I think it's a really useful, practice tool for people who are practicing chords, and it would also help to toughen your fingers up as well. And no, it's not a travelling guitar.
It doesn't make a noise. I think that's the thing that I thought. I looked at the picture from banggood.com. Banggood.
I think that's just the
and I quite enjoyed the narrator as well. Did you listen to the video? No. Yeah, well, this is worth it.
Hi, welcome to Banggood YouTube channel. Today we want to show you the pocket guitar. Pocket guitar allows you to practice your chords almost everywhere without letting the others catch up until you are ready for the ultimate surprise. All you have to do is slide open your pocket strings portable guitar practice tool to expose a section of guitar neck with real frets and strings, and you can practice your chords without lugging your cumbersome guitar.
So yeah, but basically what it seems to be, the picking part of it is just a piece of plastic, and then the strings aren't tuned in anywhere. You just put your fingers where they're supposed to be.
Oh, how disappointing!
If it was tuned in some way and you could actually play a tune on it, then I would think it was awesome, even if it sounded really rubbish.
Yeah, even if you.
But if it was tuned, great. But it seems to me that that's just a piece of plastic, and there's no sound.
I apologise. I've been fooled.
You've been out again by Banggood has done you good. Banggood.
Maybe I've just been trolled.
No, I think it's well-meaning, but really, when I was learning to play guitar, I used to get a plectrum and I'd get a little fold in my jeans, and I'd play a fold of my jeans to just get the action when I was sat on the bus or whatever.
Right,
obviously not when I've got a guitar.
It would be. I mean, that seemed like a really good idea.
Or your thumb like that. That was how I learned picking, was by using a plectrum and
when
picking anything that was around.
Yeah. I feel a little bit disappointed now. Yeah. I mean, there is no
travel guitar.
Absolutely. Well, there's
ukulele.
But I mean, I suppose. What's the? Do you remember the really thin short? Well,
the Martin did one that was like a short scale that was about that big, sort of about the width of the neck all the way down with a little. They sent one to space, didn't they, with an astronaut? That was their big marketing thing.
If they went to space. We'll not start that one. Sorry. We won't dive
why bother?
We won't dive into those quite yet.
So, that was their marketing thing, an astronaut. Well, one of them.
So I guess the idea then is that if you want to practice guitar, forget it, because it's going to have to be scale length, isn't it?
Yeah, you need some sort of scale. So ukulele, you could have a little ukulele.
I suppose a 6-string ukulele might do it.
Yeah, I mean. But the ukulele, on a ukulele, you can learn the top 4 strings. Same tuning as.
Yeah, I suppose.
Same shapes.
Yeah, because you'd have to change the gauge of the strings, wouldn't you? If you change the scale of the neck. The cigar box guitar that I've got is in open E.
You could do,
but the strings are kind of a lot shorter, so
you could do that. You could tune it. You could have a right short guitar and tune it up to an A, so that like it was like a guitar capoed on a 5th fret. Then and then you just learn that way. But
still,
really,
I mean,
just get a really crap acoustic that's got a really high action, heavy strings that won't intonate properly, and fight it for years. That was what I did.
Yeah, me too. I remember my mum absolutely bankrupting herself buying her my first guitar, and I was 13. It was a Marlin Slammer.
Yeah,
it was like you were like playing a. I mean, amazing. Bless her, she killed herself to get me it, and I think it was 79 quid back in 1980.
Electric guitar.
87, yeah. What's that? Nearly 80 quid in 87. It was like trying to play an egg slicer. I mean, it was awful.
Yeah.
You know, bleeding fingers on Boxing Day.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, with Christmas. Bleeding fingers, Boxing Day. No, not having that. No, it's all right. It's all right. I'm fine. It's just a scratch. And no, there's blood all over it, fingerboard. And yeah, that is the only way to absolutely. But I mean, you know.
Well, if you could get past that.
But yeah, exactly. But what's really good now is that about 5 years ago, I don't teach guitar anymore, but for 15 years I did. And I took a student of mine to, I think it's production room now. I can't remember what it was before then.
AMT for a while, was it? Or something like
can't remember. Anyway, I just said, how much have you got? And he said, about 300 quid or something. I said, well look, let's not look at the headstocks if we can help it, because here's a little tip for you. Fenders aren't great, Gibsons aren't great, you know, Encores aren't crap. You need to play as many guitars as you can. You will find a sweet spot in well, this by example. He said, I don't even think he had quite that much, maybe I only had 200 quid. I said, right, the prices on all these Squier Stratocasters are on prices on the back, on labels on the back of the headstock. I said, let's do an experiment. And there was about 30 of these on a rail, all looked identical. I said, right, play every one of them. And I just had a little look round the back, and they were ranging from £89 to £239. So I said, just play them all, pick me the best 3 out. So he sat there playing through them all. I went the other way around, and I made a note of the best 3, sound and feel. And so we picked between us. We picked 5 guitars. We agreed on one, and then there were 2 others either side. And so we played them all between us. I said, what do you think? And he went, well, that's not quite as good. So we shaved it down to 3. And then we shaved it down to 2. And we picked one each. And he said, well, I think this is the best. I said, well, I think this one is. But you could tell that those were the 2 best guitars out of...
and how much were they?
One was £229. The other was the £89 one. And in feel and sound, it was as good as the one that was 230 quid. And so he went to the counter and paid 89 quid for it, you know.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
you can get good guitars now. The point I'm making is you can get great guitars now
great guitars for cheap,
and you can pay stupid amounts. You can charge stupid amounts for a Gibson or a Fender, and it can be crap.
Necessarily good, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's it's the nature of mass production, I think.
Yeah.
And great guitars, you have to find them. But it's like, not all guitars in the 60s were great, but on the whole, there were less of them made by a fewer number of more highly skilled people. But
I mean, it goes the other way around as well, though, Alex. We were lucky enough to play in Memphis together, and you remember they shut the shop in the Gibson factory, and they said, it's all right, go and have a look round. And there was one guitar in that entire shop that I would have been happy owning.
Really wanted.
And that was 18.5 grand And the cheapest guitar in there was $4,000. It was a matte black Gibson Flying V, and it was shit, mate. It played like an Epiphone. It sounded like one, and there were a lot of guitars in there that they were charging stupid money for. And if you remember, they were all hand built. Now, the sweet spot, as it were, is something that happens by chance.
Well, I think as well though, there's an element where what can appear to be a really ordinary guitar, if you set it up right, it's a great guitar. I think that's something that often gets missed, even by the people who make them. But certainly, distributors and shops and places where you buy them, there's an art to the setting up of a guitar where if you get it right, it transforms that guitar into a special guitar.
Well, I'll take your word for that. You're doing what you do. But in that case, are you suggesting that the guitars in the shop in the Gibson factory in Memphis would probably just that'll do, just put it on there? But it seems an awful.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's a difference, I think, though, between kind of making a guitar work and making it in balance with itself. It's not always apparent very quickly with a guitar when it is in balance. What gauge strings does it sound best with? What's its kind of how does it sing? And it's actually quite a difficult thing to do, I think, is to set up a guitar so it does its thing, so it's naturally in balance, in tune. Because guitars, you can kind of make them so they work, so that all the notes are in tune and the strings are about reasonably comfortable distance from the fretboard and so on. But it might not be that sweet spot. Yeah. When you hit the sweet spot, then guitars can come to life.
And would you say that they all have one, or they're all attainable, or it's attainable on every guitar?
They all have a sweet spot, but then having made that adjustment to them all, then if you put 20 guitars of varying in price from $5,000 down to 200 quid or 100 quid, then you wouldn't necessarily choose the ones that were $2,000 or the ones that were 100 quid. But I think there's definitely something to be said for the manufacture of them using better materials, better quality woods, and certain manufacturing techniques.
You've more chance of hitting a better sweet spot with all those things.
Certainly, I haven't kept up on it in the last 10 years or so, but certainly during the 90s, all Epiphones and things like that were made with a big metal U-shaped aluminium channel stuck in the neck, like a big slot routed out, a channel stuck in the neck, and then a rod that sits in that, and a little shim, and that's the whole adjustment just to make the neck kind of bow or forward or backwards, the truss rod.
The truss rod, yeah.
But that was an enormous amount of wood to take out of the neck, whereas originally you'd only have a piece of wood the width of a bar, threaded bar,
That's right.
a bar threaded on each end. But then they started, because it was cheap to do it, and you could route a straight slot,
right,
bang it straight through the machine, drop the truss rod in, glue the fingerboard on your way. You could even put the truss rod in from the end, and that made guitars sound shit. So there's a whole generation of guitars, to my ears, if I pick up an Epiphone of that era and I go, this is never going to sing because it's got a big bit of wood missing from the neck. The more wood you got on the guitar, the better it's going to sound, and things like that. So, there'll be people with guitars like that they are fantastic. They play them great, and they've got good pickups in them and all that sort of stuff, or whatever mods they've done to them. But things like that are inherent in the guitar. That's going to.
Well, I think it's fair to say
reduce its quality.
I think it's fair to say from the 70s onwards, everyone trying to find cheaper and cheaper ways to.
Yeah, I mean
until the rebellion, and then
the whole Fender ethos is cheap manufacturing, but ironically they didn't go down that route at all. So that's.
Yeah, but I mean, and then.
But right from the beginning.
That's why the early Squires were so good. The Japanese built ones because.
Well, at that point, the Japanese were excited about making guitars, and
I don't know whether they felt insulted that the budget range of Fenders were given to Japan for cheap manufacturing because they used all USA parts in the early days.
Well, there's loads of different, but there are certain factories in Japan that have a guitar making history that's now 50 years, 80 years old or whatever. They started, or from before the wars, and those people are craftsmen. And when the job came in from America to build them some guitars, they were the people who got the gig because they were the best at it and they were set up to do it. Yeah. And so they made beautiful guitars, and then as volume increased, and well, at the time,
well, they were it saved Fender, didn't it? They were almost.
There's a range MIJ guitars from the sort of 80s that are really fantastic, beautifully made, but not for export outside of Japan. They were made for the Japanese market, and they are, apart from the fact they're 30 years newer, just as good as a 50s Strat or whatever. They're beautiful.
What's by MIJ? Do you mean on the serial number?
Made in Japan, yeah. I don't know where it says it. Some of them I can't remember the serial number.
Are they Fenders or Squires?
They're Fenders. They say Fender.
Oh right. Well,
but they're from that era that Squires were good.
Right. Well. Yeah.
So it's the same teams of people, same factories, but there was we'll make these for the Japanese and they're going to be awesome, and then we'll make these for the export and they're going to be great because we make good quality stuff.
Well. Okay, well that's one for the for the guitar enthusiast. Sorry about that, everybody else. Right then. Well, look, why don't we just wrap this up then? Shout outs. I'd just like to your SoundCloud page of we'll put all these up.
I don't have a SoundCloud page. I do for Factory Street Studios. I've got some old stuff on there. I'll update it.
Have you got any for Crosscut Saw? Any links for Crosscut Saw?
We're actually on MySpace. We've got a lot of plays on MySpace. I think there's 40,000 last time I looked at our music on MySpace.
So you've had it originally from the... You stayed on from the original. There's one left. Nice one.
I don't go there or anything, but
so
that exists. But there's Facebook. In fact, is good for us, and our website crosscutsaw.co.uk, and we'll put links. And the studio factorystreet.co.uk, and then the CIC is called Peace Project, and I don't know that one, but I will put the link up. peaceproject.org.uk. I think.
Cool. It'll all be down there. Liam?
Just SoundCloud, soundcloud.com/Rufus123.
And my SoundCloud's SoundCloud/the-Urbanizer, or basically just search the Urbanizer on Google, I'll come up somewhere. Just like to shouts out to my son's Facebook page. If you search DR Sprockets, it's Dr. Sprockets Bike Clinic. DR Sprockets Bike Clinic. BMX is his speciality, but he can do mountain bikes, geared things. I don't know much about it, but he is very, very good. Cheap, friendly service. And my wonderful wife's page on Facebook is Fruit Bats and Screwballs, making all them kind of wavy ravey women's festival wear and stuff. But if you're a man and you want something making, or a woman in fact, you want anything custom making, just get in touch with her. That's Fruit Bats and Screwballs on Facebook.
I've got something else. There's the Shuttle Shuffle Festival in October. That's here at Factory Street. We have 2 stages, loads of bands. I'll keep plugging that. Right. Shuttleshuffle.co.uk.
If you look up Factory Street on Facebook, then I'm sure.
Yeah, there's links and stuff. I'm sure. Yeah.
Okay. GOD Sound System. I've not got anything on immediately, I don't think, but we're in talks with Mob Sound System, so look out for some link ups. We might get one in before the summer, but certainly in September onwards. Right, we're done. the views expressed in the One Love podcast are not necessarily the views of Factory Street Studios
or anyone else,
or anyone else.
Peace Project, they're
only ours,
our views,
just ours,
yeah.
Mine, and
we make it up as we go along.
Viewer,
don't believe a word of it.
Viewer, no, I mean,
don't believe a word of anything.
No, because there are no facts, only opinions.
Go on, sorry, I'm messing
viewer
up.
Viewer discretion was advised. So, be warned.
We may have sworn.
Yeah, we did swear a little bit. There weren't many drug references this time. But stay tuned for number 2. I'm sure there'll be a lot
drug references and swearing.
Okay, so we'll have
no
a guess.
nudity though, or maybe.
No, yeah. Well, we need to talk about that.
We're not doing a nude podcast.
Well, no, we will be doing specials from time to time. I'd like to do a psilocybin special at the one of the first weeks of the mushroom season. To highlight the safe use of drugs, educate people, because I know there are a lot of people taking drugs, and we'd like to everyone to be informed and look after themselves.
We never even touched on the criminalisation of legal highs, did we?
Oh, no. That's one for next week.
Next
prohibition.
Next, but it's for the kids. Right, we're done. We're out of here. If we play that the intro song as the outro, and then we'll be quiet, and then we can put the links on afterwards.
I've got Bang Good up. Hang on. It's queued up and everything, and then we started with Bang Good.
Yeah, I do apologise. Thanks very much. Tune in next time. Bless. Can you pull the mic fader out?